talk with the workers in the city. What do they want to change? How can they save money? Until we see this thing playing out more, I'm just not. I'm not willing to say we're gonna keep this or that. Obviously, the police and fire and basic public services, that's the bedrock of what City Hall does. We're gonna do everything we can to give those officers, those firefighters, all the support that they need. And some of it, and this is back to my philosophy of bringing these federal and state dollars into the city, we can't just look at our general fund. We have to look at the opportunities that are out there to bring new money to this city. So we might be able to grow the budget and keep it balanced. That's another maybe. But I'm not one of these people going in thinking this is all about cuts, cuts, cuts. We need to be thinking about growing this city, developing this city, having a vision for the future.
Certainly, I agree. And again, with the economy being how it's been, Flint has been in a downturn for quite some time. What initiatives will you bring to the table for job creation, and what industries will you focus on?
Right, bringing new jobs. This is one of the 3 top priorities. We have to bring new jobs. We have to serve all neighborhoods, and we have to improve all schools. I mean, we have to do all 3 of those things. But specifically on jobs, the jobs that will come to Flint and that can grow in the future are around education. They're around energy. They're lighter manufacturing. See, some people miss this fact that even though there are jobs going overseas to China and India and Mexico, those are the unskilled manufacturing jobs. Skilled manufacturing is still staying right here in this country, and Flint needs to fight for its fair share of those businesses. We have inexpensive property. We have a workforce ready to go. We have a relatively low cost of living. We've got great transportation networks. The problem in this city has been City Hall. It's so disorganized. You can't get anything through City Council. You never know when your permit's coming. You have to pay lawyers to do all this paperwork. We're going to change all that. We're going to put the city's license process, its planning and zoning, its safety inspections, it's all going to be online. It's going to be laid out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the steps you need. You want to apply for the Renaissance Zone tax exemption? That form's going to be online too. And we're actually scanning these forms now. And even as a campaign, when you go to votewalling.com/business, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we'll do even more when I'm in office. And that's something, no matter what happens to the national economy or the global credit crunch, we still have to be responsible for that paperwork at City Hall. We're going to make it streamlined. We're going to make it easy. People will be able to start up businesses in this city again without all these headaches. We're going to cut through the red tape, work through City Council. We're going to get this done for new businesses, and that'll bring new jobs. And the other part of this with jobs is that it's also about the neighborhoods, because we have great neighborhood businesses all across this community, and they haven't been getting the support that they need. They need new sidewalks and lighting and trash cans and benches. I mean, that's what makes a business district attractive. So the same kinds of things that have worked for downtown, we're going to take out into all 9 wards.
Certainly. Now let's go take a step back and let's start talking about crime a little bit more. We all know that the constituents of this city don't necessarily feel comfortable. What do you plan to do against this lingering budget deficit with the police and fire? Because we know there have been massive layoffs there. What do you propose?
We have to work smarter and we have to work harder. And what do I mean by that? Right now there are 6 community police mini stations. I've already talked with Chief Alvern Locke about the feasibility of increasing that to 9, so that every single ward will have its own police mini station. When we put more officers out in the community with the flexibility to get out of the vehicles, walk the neighborhoods, bike the neighborhoods. See, these police officers, they can't just be doing paperwork after the crime takes place. We want them to not only get to the scene with a faster response time, we want them to get to the scene before there's a crime. And that's a different philosophy than I think the other candidates. My police force will be preventing crime. They'll be stopping criminals. It won't just be cleaning up after the fact. And these mini stations going from 6 to 9 is a major part of that strategy. We have to work smarter because we may not have those funds for extra police officers. And I can't make that promise that we'll be able to hire more police. We may be able to, in a year or two, be able to do that. But until we get to that point, we're going to make the best use possible of these existing officers. Get them into the communities, increase by 50% the number of mini stations in this city.
Now, just to switch, your legacy with education. We know that the Flint schools are in some very challenging times right there. If you're elected, what will your administration do to maybe collaborate or even help the school board overcome these challenges?
There's two things. One of them is we have to listen to the youth themselves. We can't pretend that as adults we have all the answers, just like we can't pretend that City Hall has all the answers for every neighborhood. We have to ask neighbors, and in the case of students, I've proposed to create a citywide youth council that has representatives from the high schools, the middle schools. This is public, private, and charter, because from the mayor's perspective, I mean, I'm a product of the Flint Public Schools, but from the mayor's perspective, these schools are all important to the future of this community, and the colleges and universities. And we'll bring those representatives together. And it won't just be a discussion session. We'll actually put proposed ordinances, we'll put proposed programs in front of them to see, are these going to work or not? Because it's the youth who are getting the education. We're trying to give them the education, but it's the youth who are actually getting themselves educated. What works for them? That's what we need to find out. And then when we go out into our community schools, every neighborhood will have one of these neighborhood action teams that'll have a police officer, firefighter, person from the transportation department, from public works, from parks and recreation, and we'll make a seat at the table for not just the superintendent and the school board, although they'll be welcome to attend. There'll be a seat at the table for a teacher from the local elementary school, for a principal, a local middle or high school, and we will work together in every neighborhood, every week, to solve these problems together. There won't be this blame game that gets played where it's the schools blame the community because of the breakdown of the family and the kids' problems, and the community blames the schools for not doing what they need to in the classroom. We're going to sit down at the table. We're not going to point fingers, we're going to get work done. So these neighborhood action teams can do a lot for the schools. The city can take care of those parks. We can improve the parking lots, the lighting, the transportation, the public safety. Teachers have to do the work inside the classroom, but we can do a lot of work to give them great facilities and a great learning environment.
Great. Now, there's been this buzz around City Hall about a collaboration with the county and the city. How do you feel about that?
It depends an awful lot on what that would consist of, because hey, this is, when you drive out, Clio Road, you can't tell the difference, right, between what's Flint and what's Mount Morris, the rest of Genesee County. Same thing happens, you go down South Saginaw. So we have to take a collaborative approach, but as the mayor of the city, we always have to put the interests of Flint citizens first. So if we can't save money, if we can't stay in a position of strong authority over the services that will affect this neighborhood, those aren't collaborations we want to be a part of. But I do think it's worth having an open mind about how we can get some things done together. And we already have, the Flint schools are doing some work with the Genesee Intermediate School District on an elective voluntary basis that's saving the school district a lot of money. So as long as it's voluntary, we need to have those conversations. That example with the school district is just, I think, one where they've saved some money on the record keeping, the bookkeeping. So there may be some good ideas there, but we always have to put the interests of the citizens of the city of Flint, first. Yeah. Now,
with Don Williamson and his administration, there has been a rift with the legislative body of the city, the city council. Yeah. There was always something brewing between them. How important is that to you to be able to work with the city council?
Well, the charter lays out that we have to work together. Mayoral appointees have to go through the council. The budget process takes both the mayor and the city council working together. So we have to have a more cooperative atmosphere. But if these city council members won't roll up their sleeves and get to work in this community, we are not going to let them stand in the way of the progress. So there's going to be an open invitation to city council members and all the community leaders to be a part of this city hall. let's craft a citywide strategic